We were here before. I think you are new, aren't you? This button? Did I do this before? 'Cause I don't think I did. Oh, weird, it makes you silently sit here even though I can't see an animation. So I can rotate it while I'm here, which is probably important. But let's see if I can make it face a different direction from this perspective. I've basically just been slowly scraping up and down the map, trying to find anything different. Okay. That's where I come from. This is the same gate as before. But now I have access to it from a different side. So what does the lever do? That opens... that's it. That opens the gate. Damn. I'm trying to very slowly scrape up and down the environments. I've been to the beach, I've been through both the transitions again, I've been all over the map. It's, definitely some whiplash between this game and Myst, the original. Just, like, experiencing how the game is laid out and what it expects of you and stuff. It's just a different layout. So is this just rotating the room again? Like, that's just rotating you again. There's a lever here. What's up with that? I hear a sound, and I don't know what I'm hearing. I'm just gonna default to pressing it once. Maybe it's the same door, though. That almost had like a xylophone glittery sound. Okay, so I'm back outside. And now I can get all the way to this gate right here. Somehow. Can't look up. So I can rotate that, but this gate's closed. Let's see, so that's this gate, that's the cave, that's this door, and that is the direction of the other cave. How many? Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know if I put it together before. There's 5 directions. Have I checked every bug then? Then, like, going from the right side of this thing, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 bugs. That's probably why the one time I went and checked them again, I thought that there was a another bug I hadn't recognized before, is just because there were so many bugs. So that's the gate, I think? Or is... yeah, that's that one, so that means this has to be the cave. There's 2 directions over here. Okay. I thought it was a 4-directional room for the while there, not a 5-directional room, and that led to some of my misconceptions about how many sides there were and which way it was rotating. Okay, so it's not a straight... that makes sense, because when we go through here, I believe it's clear that this is not like a straight line. Yeah, it's off to the right. And there's also... oh yeah, there's a 5-pointed star down there. The door's to your right, even though when I'm rotating... because you can't get a proper feel for how fast you're rotating and so on, it almost feels like I'm going in a 4-directional room, because there's like such a symmetry to every camera angle. It's interesting how this way of navigating and this way of perceiving a world, like, actively screws with your ability to, like, sense the overall spatial layout of your environment. Okay, so now my question is, what have I accomplished? Like, I opened a gate, but behind that gate is just another gate. Thankfully I can skip that animation, so I can... which will significantly increase the rate at which I can experiment with this mechanic. Hello? Hello? Is that what the other lever did? Did that open this gate? Ooh! I have a straight line. I can just go from this bridge straight through this thing now. Ooh! And this is this the dome? Is this the same dome I was trying to approach from the other side? So when I approached what looks like this dome from the other side, and I had the blocked path, I thought that meant that I had to solve and rotate this place correctly. But it quickly became apparent that wasn't the case, because I got there again, I couldn't get inside. There's that button again, sneaky ass little hard to find corner of the screen button. So that must just rotate this from this side, so it rotates from every side. Down there we have that thing still, need to figure out the combination for that. Some sort of like 4 or 5 digit combo, I think. This looks like a water chamber. Like a water tower almost. Okay. Okay, breaking out the phone for the camera. And we're taking a picture of this thing. You live on my phone now. Weird image. Man, that saves us so much time from a Let's Play perspective. As like... It would be, like, so amusing if I had, like, a really proper setup. Like, I'm not completely against the idea of, like, having, like, a really carefully set off, like, side table with a webcam perfectly suspended over it with nice lighting where I can, like, do notepad sketches and you guys can all see that and be along for the ride. Like, that's, like, a... That could be a cool long-term way of handling notes. But damn if I am not even remotely equipped for that kind of thing to make it look even vaguely good. You've seen the unboxing videos. You're not going to be able to read stuff written on a pad. So we have a 5-directional thing. Numerically, we have like 1, 5, 4, 4, more, 11. Numbers may not matter at all. Inputs might matter. The shapes might matter. It could be the volume of water that's supplied in each direction. It might be a way of measuring how different pieces of the population require water or something like that. What's interesting here is that we have a piping system. And that's like the primary thing I have to go on so far is the constant existence of water and piping. So down here we have this little thing that has a pipe going into it, I believe. And then back where we were before, where I was trying to catch an animal or something, or whatever the heck that weird bait-looking thing was for, there was piping I was playing with there, too. This may be what joins this place together. Nothing there, right? It's just nothing? I'm trying to slow down a little bit about moving around. But there seems to be nothing here. Hey, it's this little pier with the steam that we've seen sticking out a few times now. Was that... So did I just make the bridge change? I'm unclear. So that's the bridge that connects to the other side of the dome, right? And that was down before, I believe? I really wish I could just look in that direction. And I definitely find myself missing the ability to just look in whatever direction I feel like. Let's see, can I rotate that way and look out there? I think that's the... Yeah, you can see the rails that go over there. I think that's the place where the rail cart dumps me off into some sort of weird bog-looking place where the, room was where I had to lower the water level. I think that's the super long walkway that came out of there, and it led to a dead end, because I couldn't... I would walk up a incline. Can't look up here. I'd walk up like this incline right here. Yeah. Then it would level out for a bit, and then I'd hit a point where I couldn't walk anymore. Well, you defaulted to being up, so I'm gonna put you in left position and hope that helps out. Hopefully. But I think this might change that walkway so I can access it from that side. Because there was like a little like lever, a little symbol here that seems to indicate changing height. Didn't realize I could zoom in on it at the time. Okay. Seems important. It also, when you go up there, a little bit of intuitive level design is that when you're up there, you can look down here and see this little thing shooting steam everywhere. And that makes it seem like it's important and maybe even related to your problem. Because that was shooting steam before. We're definitely well past the Myst setup, where we had a very clear, concrete goal at all times, where the whole game was about Open path to new age. Get page from age. The end. That was basically the steps. Go to next age. Hello. You might be important. You get to have a picture taken of you. With the effort of maybe remembering you later. Having no idea whether or not that's even a worthwhile thing. I'm gonna have a lot of pictures. This thing's weirding me out. There's a little, like, trapdoor looking thing down here. Or is it an elevator? Can I look up? Look up there. There's a little walkway. I clicked on my book on accident, so now I have to wait for a while for it to load. There we go. I think... hard to say for sure, but it might be that this thing goes up there on the rails. Maybe if you put the right thing in here. So far I have an inventory of 0 items. Except for the book. Which is the only thing that makes me think there's even an inventory in this game. So far, almost impressively, failed to find anything. Or maybe I'm wrong about the idea that we have an inventory of items that will populate the bottom of the screen. Got some trees over there. I probably haven't been there yet. There's no apparent above water rails going there. Can't look up here. Only 3 camera angles. There's walkways up there. I'm just gonna switch this and see if it helps. With the hopes that it makes some ramp more accessible somewhere. That might be all I can do, though. I want to go over there. I don't know yet what to think of this, but I'll keep it in mind. These numbers. I don't think I can turn this into a translation of, what to do with that one weird rocket ship-looking thing. But the, rotating room, at least, is something that now points in a direction so I can use it. That's hopefully a good sign. Go very slowly. That made me jumpy a little bit. Little piece of the side that is less shadowed, so it almost looks like a walkway. I just don't know what to make of you yet. I can make this go up and down, but I think I need to open this, and I just don't think any of the symbols... I can double check real quick. I'm pretty sure none of the symbols are a straight line. No, none of them are a straight line. They all have a bend or a shape, or they're a square of some kind, so it's not something I can translate directly into that. But I think that's something I'm still waiting on. This is such a weird visual here. So I'm going to, I suppose, just kind of hope that I now have access. Poke around a little bit. I'm so glad I can skip those animations now. That I found that. Mostly trying to retrace my steps for anything I think I've missed along the way. That's just what makes the door open or closed. There's like a dream catcher up there that I think I've tried to click on before. And you just can't. I meant to click on this. If there's like a light spot here, that's just a reflection, I suppose. Or something. It's like a rapid edit from Hot Fuzz when he's like traveling from the big city to the outskirts, and you just have like these like jump cuts as he's like doing what's are much more time-consuming pieces of travel. There's so much terrain to scan visually, especially around here with all the complex lines of shadows and slopes everywhere. There's a lot of little details to try to find in the brownness of it all. And that axe still stands out and bothers me, because it just looks like something I could interact with. Let's see, that's how I get to the bait room. That's how there's the water thing that I don't fully understand. You are likely important. Everything's about the pumping and flowing of water around here. Let's see, does this... That's not where I'm trying to go. That also goes somewhere else. It's going to take a few attempts just to get this layout down more and more. This really does just attach to here. Let's see, and I closed you guys, and that led to me finding out that there was pathways behind you. One of my goals is to get to the other side where that one raised bridge was to see if it's not raised anymore, but I'm also trying to... Oh! Trying to see if I can find stuff along the way. That's powering something off. Let's check the fan. Aha! You're just gonna climb in there, huh? Okay, sure. You do you, fam, I guess. Where am I? Hi. Oh, I'm inside. Open. Da-na-na-na-na. That's all I can think about. Oh, no, don't close it again. What does it just... No, it's just gonna close if I walk away. Okay. It's just what it does, I guess. Book? Instruction book? That teaches me things? That's hard to read. This is gonna be hard to read. The latest ink formulation has proven a failure. Even when writing in my most promising books, I obtain only the barest glimmer of a connection. It is frustrating to expend so much effort creating a blank book, only to end up destroying it when it doesn't work. There are days when the lab is uncomfortably warm from the flames of these failed attempts. The further I refine each element, the formulations of the inks and papers, the physical dimensions of the books, the more I realize that the list of potential combinations is nearly infinite. It is during moments like this that I despair. Without access to Denis, my long-term goals may never be accomplished. Nevertheless, there are avenues of research which remain to be explored. Okay, so this is the guy I'm after, right? And he's trying to form books to get out and struggling because he can't get the right elements or something. Man, this is like a writing style specifically designed to make as many of the letters look the same as possible. I am discontinuing regular observations of the stars beneath the fissure, although I've been able to track the dark cloud-like formations that migrate through the star field. Is it star field? and have proven that their paths are cyclical. Without proper instrumentation, it is pointless to continue. My general theory concerning the nature of the fissure has remained unaltered since it first appeared. It seems that the fabric of this age has been breached in a way that permits matter to be hospitably exchanged between the two discrete but overlapping spaces, much like a link. But the apparent physical contradictions surrounding this juncture defy logical reason. The great column of wind that was formed when the fissure first appeared suggests a vacuum, as one might expect in space. Yet my early experimentations revealed the presence of a breathable atmosphere. That Atris and Catherine threw themselves into the void that they threw themselves into the void is further evidence that it might be safe to travel. But without knowing its true nature, I cannot take the risk myself. It is also difficult to say what would happen if I were to reopen it after so long, but it is likely that the results would be catastrophic, given the changes that have occurred in this age since that time. Maintenance on the steam vent caps completed on that date. I am extremely pleased with the continued success of this system. I believe the construction to have been time true to the Denis design of my memory. Another example of the superiority of the Denis technology. It's ironic that Atris and Catherine unwittingly provided me with such a convenient source of power. Oh, so he's adding Denis structures to this place that is not for the Denis originally. As with many of my views over the years, my thoughts regarding the origin of the fissure have changed. I have recently begun to wonder whether it was actually an unexplored byproduct of the changes Catherine and Atris wrote into this age during their escape. Certainly by casting their linking books into the void, they trapped me here quite effectively. But I do not believe that Atris intended the book to be lost in this manner. Much better to destroy it than to risk the possibility of its falling into unknown hands. Also, had they foreseen the creation of the fissure, they would surely have thought that the vacuum it created would eventually consume the atmosphere of this planet. A fate which Catherine undoubtedly would have deemed unacceptable for her homeworld. If I had not been there to supervise the construction of the seal, this is most certainly what would have happened, for the villagers were far too frightened to even approach the vortex without my urging. I hold on to the belief that it was an unintended consequence of their writing for another reason as well. I prefer to think that my son had meant for this age to be merely a prison for me, rather than a death sentence. Okay, so they had a hasty escape, and in the process of their escape, they almost doomed the entire planet. But the guy we're here to stop actually saved the planet, as it turns out. The construction of the images has proceeded without fault. It is interesting to see how easily I've been able to adapt the Denis technology to mimic that of Ahmad. Of the Ahmad? In some ways, the similarities between the two cultures were striking. I wonder if perhaps there had been communication on, or commerce between the two cultures in earlier times. Maybe Keta's people were even descendants of the Denis. It pleases me to think so. Note, it's possible that if I were somehow able to supply the books With a power source of sufficient magnitude, I could suppress the variance enough to facilitate a solid link. It is doubtful that the geothermal cap generators could provide such an enormous surge. Perhaps I could adapt the fire marbles? Is that what that says? You can kind of get away with some predictive reading when you're reading this stuff. Like, I can kind of guess what the next words are going to be based on how sentences generally structure after, you know, hearing English for the last 30 almost years. But it's when you hit fantasy words and stuff like that where I'm like, is that what it says? Fine marbles? Fire marbles? I've been cataloging the natural elements of this age for nearly 30 years now, yet still I continue to find evidence of the Denis' preoccupation with fire. I'm just going to assume fire. As a boy, it was very clear to me that the number 5, it's 5? Is that 5? 5 marbles? What are 5 marbles? I think they said the number 5, so I could tell what the hell, if it's I or N or V. Cursive sucks. No one should write in cursive. It's just a garbage way of writing, so you can go as fast as possible and be illegible and garbage. Because I could reasonably associate some of these letters as being an N, an R, or a V, and that's a problem for clarity. Especially for scientific note-taking. What the hell? The whole point is to be able to reflect on the notes in their entirety. As a boy, it was very clear to me the number 5 had a special significance to the Denis society. From the ancient heraldic emblems of the ruling elite to the humble homes of the commoners, it was ubiquitous. Its presence here is obviously a direct reflection of the minds that designed the texts that I used to compose to compose this age. Further proof that through their art, the Denis masters were indeed creating the marvelous worlds they wrote, and not, as many have mistakenly thought, merely building the links to pre-existing worlds. While most of my constructions have been based on Denis designs, I see now that the ones that I have imbued with the power of 5 were clearly the most beautiful, the most perfect, and I believe the most structurally sound. This almost has me wondering if this is of significance that the Myst franchise has 5 games now. Hello. I am still attempting to determine how the Denis color symbology reflects this superior design principle. Although superficially it is based on a 6-color system, I am convinced that there has to be a deeper connection to 5. I will continue to investigate. Is that last thing a dot, or is that a symbol, or... Huh. Just gonna go ahead and add that to the list of things I'm taking a picture of. Is the series of eyeballs there. There we go. Just figure that those eyes might come up at some point, and knowing all the variations might help. So there's a... There's a horizontal line, a vertical line. There's a dot inside the circle. There's horizontal and vertical eyeball slits. And then there's an eyeball that has a vertical line inside of it. And there might be just a dot floating in space. Or it might just be like this dot that's just kind of on the paper. They did say 6. Say a 6-color system, and this would be 6 colors right here. Although the dot could represent like an absence. I finally made a breakthrough. I have succeeded in modifying the 5 marbles to generate enough power to hold a descriptive linking book in a stable matrix. I have linked to a new world. It is a harsh and desolate age, but is nonetheless well suited for my purposes, and so I have designated it my... impossible to understand symbol. Dare I try to draw that? Maybe I should. Let's see. You have 2 horizontal lines, and they're framed by 2 vertical lines on the inside. You have a K in the middle. You have a horizontal line that bisects the K. And then you have like a box to the left of the K. Yeah, that's all the correct lines at the very least. So maybe that'll be some sort of coordinate system in this game. Kind of like how we interacted with crystals in order to make that one telescope point the right way at the end of Myst. Maybe that'll somehow reflect a little bit of this. By studying it closely, I believe I will eventually be able to create a more appropriate age for us to settle on. Resettle on. For now, I will build an office and set up my living quarters there, in order that I may conduct my experiments in safety and without distraction. There's a symbol of like something happening under a mountain. Could be a symbol of the volcanic channels. No, it's probably reflecting this underground tunnel under this dish. Some bowls and whatnot. I must admit that I am proud of my work. To think that in such primitive conditions I have accomplished in 29 years what it took the original Denis centuries to achieve. Note: repair outerwear for work on this world. The goggles may need to be redesigned altogether. Okay, you said that you did something in 29 years with other people took centuries, but those people didn't already know what to do. You already know what to do, so it's not really, like, you know, kudos for doing a good job, but I don't think that's a pretty apple and oranges comparison. It's people inventing stuff versus you rebuilding something. I have begun construction of a series of link sites for each island that will connect Riven with my office on... I don't know what to call that. The Survey Guild has finally completed the site location for each island according to my exact specifications, and installation of the domes is underway at last. Work on the central power source got off to a bit of a bad start, I'm afraid, but the pace has picked up considerably since then, and I anticipate no further delays. I am looking forward to finally having a civilized mode of transportation. That appears to be the same symbols we saw on the pedestal before. Note for note, pretty much. Maybe not in the same orientation, but that's about it.